Centers are great for differentiation, collaborative work, review, and enrichment of material that has already been taught. However, all of this is only possible if you have all of your ducks in a row. Setting up your centers in a way that is easy for students to follow and you to maintain is going to be vital for center success. In today's video, I'm going to share some tips and strategies for setting up your centers in your classroom that is going to make sure you get the most out of this precious time with your students. Welcome back, educational rock stars. I'm Farah from Farah Henley Education, where I strive to bring you actionable tips, strategies, and simple systems that actually work so that you can finally teach and have big impact in your classroom. If this is your first time joining, we would like to invite you to please click that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you get notified when we go live or upload a new video here on the channel. Centers are a great way to differentiate your instruction. They're a great way to test prep. They're a great way to make sure that you're reviewing and getting enrichment in for skills that have already been taught. While centers might be good for differentiation, for review and enrichment, if you don't have all your ducks in a row, they can be chaos. And so I want to share these 5 tips for you so that you can make sure that your centers are getting you the biggest impact that you possibly can, and that they are going to work for your students and they are going to be easy for you to maintain and keep up with. So the first tip I want to share with you is plan out your centers. Now, this may seem so simple. Of course, you have to plan out your centers, but you would be surprised at how many teachers I coach that don't actually plan their centers. They just find activities to put into their centers. They don't really take a moment to really step back and actually plan their centers out. And so this is really crucial when you're setting up your centers. You're going to want to make sure that you plan the exact activities that are going to be in each center. If you're differentiating your instruction in your centers, you're going to want to plan out that differentiation. You're going to want to make sure that you plan for everything that your students are going to need. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in some other tips that I'm going to share with you as well. But make sure that you're planning those centers. Set time aside to look at your lesson plans from the previous weeks and think about what you can put into your centers. Now, like I always tell you, you need to make sure your centers are being used for review and enrichment. We're not putting anything that's on the lesson plan that week inside your centers. You're going to want to go back a few weeks and pick up review material from those weeks that you've already taught, and that's what you need to be putting in your centers. To help you with this, I have a great resource that I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to grab my free centers planner. And you're going to be able to grab that link and down in the description, and you can go download that, and it is going to have a step-by-step plan for you to be able to plan out your centers, plan out your groups, everything when you're planning your centers. And the great thing is it's in digital and a printable format, so you can actually edit it right on your computer and fill all of that out, or you can print it out, you can bind it, you can print it out each week and put it into your lesson planner so that you have that right there to go for you. So the second thing that I think you really need to focus on when you're setting up your centers is to make sure that you have a simple framework. So what does this mean? You're going to want to have a system for the way your students are going to rotate through centers. You're going to want to have a system for where your students get supplies. You're going to want to make sure that you hit those big 3, that consistency, that clarity, and that functionality. You're going to want to make sure that all 3 of those are hit. Make sure you've got clarity within your centers, that they're predictable activities your kids are going to know how to do, and they're not going to require you every time they do the activity to teach them a new way to do it. Make sure you've got the functionality and you've got things set up to where they rotate in a certain order. It's a simple system to follow. Don't get complicated with this. I see so many center rotation systems that are so complicated and they change every day. The kids don't know where they're supposed to be, where they're supposed to be working, or anything. So make sure you've got that functionality. And then consistency. When you have a simple framework, it is going to be easier for you to maintain consistency. And really, consistency is what is is going to make your centers start to flow like a well-oiled machine. How many centers are you using? Do you have that already set up? Is that changing from day to day? Because really, you don't want that changing. You want a set number of centers. Are you, the teacher, going to be one of those centers? Are they going to rotate through you? Having a simple framework in place is going to save your sanity, and it's going to give your students that clarity that they're going to need so that they make sure that they are running, that your centers are running smoothly every single day, because the students are, it's going to become muscle memory, and they're going to know exactly where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to be doing. So my third tip for making sure that you're setting your centers up successfully is to make sure you have unbreakable expectations. Now, I cannot stress this enough. Your students will rise to the level that you set. If you set that expectation down here, that's as far as they're going to go. If you set that expectation up here, now it might take you a little while to get them up to your expectation, but they will rise to the occasion. So once you have expectations for your centers set and in place, make sure you stick to it. Do not waver. You are going to want to make sure that you're setting those expectations. You're not breaking them. If you don't want them interrupting you at your center table, then you need to set that expectation and you need to stick to it. Have some simple things in place to make sure that common interruptions are taken care of. This is something that I go over in my program Learning Centers Made Easy, and I give you that step-by-step process of how I run my centers in my classroom, and I tell you exactly the systems that I put in place to make sure that my students have those simple interruptions and those common interruptions taken care of. So that is something that you might want to check out, and I will leave a link in the description for you to go check out and join the waiting list. So when that program opens again for next year, you can get on there and you can get your centers right on track from the very, very beginning. Fourth tip: organize your materials. Now, I talked about this last week. We went through how I organize my math and literacy centers, but I cannot stress this enough. You have to make sure your math and literacy centers are organized, or you're not going to keep up with it. I mean, think about it. If you're not organized, what happens? Chaos ensues. You're not keeping up with it. You decide that it's too much work. You're not sure what centers you're going to put into your activities. And this goes back to planning, because when you start to plan your centers, if you're not organized, then planning your centers is going to be a nightmare. Planning your centers really shouldn't take that much time, but it's going to be very, very difficult if you don't already have them organized. So you're going to need things like the iris boxes and the Ziploc bags, and make sure you're laminating everything. Make sure you have it all organized and ready to go when you sit down and plan your centers, so that it is so simple and easy to make sure you have everything running right. This is going to go a long way when you're setting up those centers for success. That fifth tip is to make sure you're grouping your students in groups that are going to work. Now, there are two ways that you can group your students. You can group them homogeneously, or you can group them heterogeneously. And I have done a video, and I will link to that video down in the description below. But I have done a video on how I group my students and the two different ways you can group. I personally prefer to group my students homogeneously, so that they are on the same level or working on the same skills or about the same skills. The reason I do this is it makes it really simple when I'm running my small groups and my students are rotating through my teacher table. I myself am one of the center stations, and they rotate through me, and I can put them in their reading groups or their math groups, and they very easily rotate through me. So that's why I prefer to group homogeneously. Some teachers prefer to group heterogeneously, to where they might have students that are a little bit higher working with students that are on a little bit lower or behind a little bit on some of the skills, because then those higher students can help those lower students. But I find it's easier if my students stick with their reading or math groups, and then they just rotate through me. That's something that I've been doing forever and ever and ever. And that's just my preferred way of doing it. But you can check out that video. Again, I'm going to leave a description, or leave a link to that video in the description, so you can check out that video. Now, if you're looking for more tips, strategies, and simple systems that actually work to take back into your classroom, check out the videos on your screen. Thanks for watching, and keep being an educational rock star.